Now, the other part is the methods part. So methods is basically the functions, the abilities of our classes, So we define the action part of our objects. And for those functions, I will use this interchangeably, methods or the functions. When I said, I actually mean exactly the same thing. And for the syntax part, now we can have this data accessifier. It can be public or private. Or we will see it in later on some other more types. Then the return type. So what type of data it returns, if it returns. If it doesn't return, it's a, what is it? Do you remember, do you know the term? Void. If it doesn't return anything, we put void. If it returns something, then we should return what its type. Then the method name. And then in the parentheses, we say data type, variable name. Data type, variable name. So for each parameter, I should specify the data type. So this is again important. In Python, you don't need to do it. You just say ABC. But here we should say integer A, string B, float C. So this is also another important part of difference between Java and Python. And how do we call a function? Well, actually, I had already shown it with my object name, and then a dot, and then the method name, and whatever parameter it takes. So in this example, for instance, we have this rectangle. We first create an instance of it, and then by using its variable name, which is r1 in this case, then we say r1 dot set width or set length, whatever functions we want to run, and then whatever parameters that we want to provide for that one. And for the method visibility, again, we have this private and public. It means exactly the same thing, which means a private method can be only accessible within the class, but it cannot be accessed outside the class. But public can be accessible in any place. So let's also show an example. Like for our student, well, maybe we have a private method for, I don't know, let's say list courses, whatever it is, if you want to say. And then maybe it will just print, for now, for simplicity, it just prints courses. So this is a private method, which means that when I go to another class, let me delete this part not to confuse. I cannot run it. It's not accessible. I cannot run it here, which means that then I can only run it in any other place in this method. Like in the get GPA, you can run these functions. Like maybe you first want to list courses. Yeah, you can do it here. So you can use this function inside that class, but you cannot use it outside the class. Okay, my question is again, then why? Why should I need a private method? I cannot use it outside the class. I can only run it inside that class. Why should I need it?
It might have same name in another class, maybe it will be problem.
What does it mean? I don't understand.
I have another class and I made another method list courses. It's do another thing in that class.
If it is another class, again, I have to create different functions. So my question is, why do I need private methods? Like, why don't I just make them public?
Because it is restricted process that I want to execute it from another places.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Like an example, let me give. You are building an e-commerce platform, okay? And then you have a function for bank operations. So if you make it public, it means that, okay, any software developer will be able to call that function, will do some bank operations. But maybe you want to hide it actually. You don't want to others to use it. You just want to say, okay, this is for the bank operations. You don't want to be the others to be able to use it. And sometimes we actually, do you know what is an API? Have you ever used any API? What is it?
Is platform that represent the methods of some project or some big websites that
Yeah.
I can access to their
Yes.
to their codes and
Programmatically. Yes. For instance, for ChatGPT, well, you can either go to their website and type manually and use it. There's also, but it will be hard if I want to use it for my actual task. Like I want to create 1,000. I have a data and I want to process it with ChatGPT 1,000 times. I cannot do it manually. Like, okay, what about this? What about this? I want to do it from a program. Like I want, like literally in a for loop, I will iterate for 1,000 times. At each iteration, I will send a different message to the ChatGPT and receive that. So I need a library that I can use in my code, a method actually. So those platforms provide us API, and then we use it we import in our code, so which allows us to use these platforms or libraries in our program. But again, now, why did I bring this? Like ChatGPT now releases its API. In an API, in their API, which methods they want us to run. They might say, okay, send a message, prompt the model, that might be public, but maybe there should be tons of different functions that they are doing inside. And they don't want us to use it, so you can make them public so that they will not be able to run it. So again, this accessibility is important aspect. We don't want like full freedom that everyone can do anything. That would be really chaos. Like in a social life, assume think about it. There's no rule. Everyone can do anything. That would be a big chaos also. So similarly, we don't want this to happen in our code. That's why we have this kind of restrictions. All right. Yeah, this part is pretty important. I would like to really emphasize on this. Methods overloading. So before going to, what does it mean is, multiple functions can have the same name in Java. But this is only possible if their parameters are different. Let me give you an example. As in this case, I have a class. It has getRandomNum function. And I have also another one which is getRandomNum function also. But the difference is one of them takes a parameter, the other does not. So this is a very common thing that you can do. Sometimes you might need to define multiple functions with the same name because they are actually representing the same, exactly the same, the same behavior, the same action. Like I want to get a random number. I want to get a random number within this range. I want to get a random number, but it should be integer. So I might have some different versions of it, variants of it. So Java allows that, but then this is called overloading. I overloaded this name actually. I have multiple functions with the same name. They are overloaded. But when does it not allowed? So I'll also do it in my code here. Let me put a space some here. Let's say that I want to say, okay, public void print message, okay? That doesn't take any parameter. I want to say, okay, print message, pass it. What is happening here? I already have it. Oh, I already have it. I didn't know it. Yeah. Okay. So here is what happens. I'll just put it here. So I cannot define the same function with the same parameter setting. I'll just get an error. I'll just get that, okay, this is duplicate. But if I say here, okay, string some special message here, and I would like to put it here, for instance, maybe. Okay. Now it allows. I overloaded it. But the thing is, when it is not allowed. So to explain it, I need this. I will keep copy pasting it, and for simplicity, I will now ignore the content. Okay, the content is not important for us. If I make it integer, so the parameter name is same, message, it's still allowed. The reason is data types that are different. This is what it give it importance. Like if I make it integer, then I will get an error also. And then, well, you might also say, okay, this is if I take multiple parameters, let's say that int b, and also this is string b. It will still allow, like both of them takes two parameters. One of them takes string, and both of them takes strings and integer. But their order is different. One of them is string and then integer, the other one is integer and then string. So their order is different, so it is still allowed. When will it not be allowed? If I had the same order, then I would get an error. It's a duplicate. So from Java perspective, Java says that, okay, you cannot have multiple functions with the same signature. And what is a signature of a function? It is its name and the parameters. But from the parameters, the type is important and their order is important. So I should be able to say, okay, I made it. If I make this one, let's say float, I will not get an error. How about this? This is usually confused. The return type, is it a part of the signature or not? What do you think about it? Many students think it in this way, and yeah, I believe, and it sounds reasonable, but in Java it is not. So if I make this integer, now here is this interesting part. It gives me error. So here I don't have an error. But when I make it saying, okay, actually let me say it in this way. When I say that it returns an integer, it should return some value, okay? So that's the error part. This part does not belong to the signature. How can I understand it? Well, if I give them the same order, like string integer, same function name, but different data return types, then I'll get an error. It says that it's same signature. So the reason is, again, the return type is not a part of the signature. So the only thing is name, parameters, and when the parameters I say the order and the type of the parameters is important, it is the signature of a function, but not the return type. It does not allow you to do this. Any questions so far?
Doctor, but the compiler, which function will be executed?
Oh, that's a pretty good question. So that's why I'm getting an error. Now compiler does not know which one should be run, because they have the same signature, they have the same name, they have the same parameter list. But if I had this, like this is integer, this is string integer, then compiler can always know which one should be executed. If my first parameter is string and then the integer, the first one. If my first both are integers, then it should run the second one. That's the point actually. Like why it doesn't allow us to have multiple functions with the same signature, because if it allows it, then compiler will not be able to know which should be run, because their names are same, parameters are same. But if their names are different, it will know which to run. And if their names are same and but parameters are different, then it will still know which should be run. That's the main idea of this compiler actually. Yes, please.
Let's say the first method is its parameter is an integer,
Okay.
and the second method its parameter let's say
Float. All right. We don't have the message anymore. That's why we are getting it.
when applying some parameters, when applying some operations or something. What happens?
Well, from a signature perspective, the content has no importance. Like I don't know, I can just say, okay, a plus whatever 5. I can also do it here if you want. B plus 4, whatever it is. The content has no impact on the signature. Here, the thing is, there are different methods. Why? One of them takes an integer, the other one takes a float. So they are different.
I'm calling this method in another class.
Oh,
Which one
okay.
will be selected?
Oh, that's a pretty good question. So if I have this, and I want to call these messages, one of them calls a float, and the other one calls integer. So in one of them I give it an integer, the other one I give it a float, so that I can differentiate which one should be run. I can even do it in this way, like I want to make it as a float. Okay? Then I'm saying, like, okay, call the one that takes the float one. All right, I have 2 minutes. I already talked about this. Okay, I think I can stop here because that's a pretty different topic. And we will continue on Sunday. Thank you for your attendance. This is the class for today. If you have any questions, I can take it now.